Welcome to the Clarity Confidence Connection Summit, where badass women break through barriers and unlock their next level of success. Ranchelle Van Bryce is a dynamic force dedicated to helping women live their purpose and manifest success in all life facets. From professional achievements to creating a new relationship with their business, as well as improved well-being. As a business intuitive, sacred commerce coach, author, and host of a podcast/TV show, she excels in illuminating each woman's unique potential. Co-creator of this summit, Ranchelle is eager to introduce another inspirational guest. Take it away, Ranchelle.
Eager is the word of the weekend, and I'm sure I'll be using it over and over again this next little bit. Thank you so much, everyone. As the audience comes in, thank you so much. It's great to have you here. Super excited to have you join us. We are here with Shelley. Shelley, thank you. Thank you for taking time out of your schedule to hang out with us on a Saturday afternoon, or morning. Yeah, afternoon. I was like, I don't even know what time it is. So thank you.
Yeah.
So you're going to talk to us today about how to trust your intuition to follow your purpose and be your authentic self. And I understand you're going to talk about sharing your story of your challenges, including a near-death experience. So I'm eagerly awaiting to have you share that. And so first, please let me have the honor of introducing you, which is Shelley is a compassionate healer, yoga teacher, Reiki master, and intuitive wellness coach. She is also the owner of Rooted Heart Yoga and Art Studio in her hometown, Grand Prairie, Alberta. Woo woo, a fellow Albertan. Thank you very much. She uses her gift of intuition within her Reiki and coaching sessions to help guide and support her clients. She has a deep connection of intuition and can read a client's unique energy to offer intuitive insights and spiritual guidance that best supports their well-being. Shelley offers a constant source of strength and compassion to her clients. Her gift is guiding others towards their passion, purpose, and presence in life. With dedication, intention, and commitment, she loves to support others to create more connection in their lives and hearts, creating profound healing to awaken to their radiant selves. Oh, my goodness. Thank you so much. I love this. It was said, and I want to go back to this because she's like connection of intuition, can read a client's unique energy. How often do you have people like at a party, like, oh, read me or do me, right? When you're reading energy, I've had it all the time. I'm like, I'm not going to know. I'm here hanging out, having some fun.
Totally.
Right. And so please do us truly the honor of sharing your story. Where did you start and how did you get here?
Sure. I'll jump right in.
Yeah, thank you.
I find it kind of interesting actually today because it's a full moon and it is the energy around it is a lot around intuition and authenticity, which is what I'm speaking about today.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool. But I wanted to start off with what a simple explanation of what intuition is and drop it into my story and a few points of what I learned through the process that might help you.
Yeah, thank you.
And what I wanted to start with was, what is intuition? I'm sure if you're here right now, you have a pretty good idea of what intuition is to you. My understanding is that it is conscious reasoning. So something within an understanding, without conscious reasoning. So we don't have an absolute solution as to why we feel the way we do, we just do. And I'm sure you've had that strong feeling within you about something that you should or shouldn't do.
Yeah.
You may know it as an innate feeling of understanding, and it's deep within you. So it's that first thing that might come to you, and you are just even just sitting in silence, and all of a sudden, that message comes in. And for me, intuition is the underlying force of what I do every day. So just like in that intro, I use my intuition in my work. I use it in my Reiki and my coaching. I feel there is an aspect of trust, though, that is so important when it comes to following it. And so that's going to be part of my story. It's not just about learning about intuition, but actually, how do we trust what we hear or feel?
Right.
And I use that intuition in my Reiki and coaching sessions, just like what was said. I'm able to tap into what you're going through, your current past, what has led you there, patterns, direction that would be the best for you, that's going to create that balance in your life. It's all so unique. And our intuition is very unique to each one of us. We all have a certain level, of depth. And it's about that level of trust. So all of us have intuition, but it's if you're choosing to listen to it and actually follow what you hear, and that's what makes all the difference. So that's what I'm going to be talking about today. And I hope that you welcome this talk.
Yeah. It'll be great. And what I love your explanation of intuition. I've not heard that yet. And I hear, hear people talking about intuition all the time. And I love that. So thank you. So please, yes, share, continue and share your story with us. Thank you.
So I'm going to start with when I started to tap into the idea of trusting my intuition was in my actual Reiki training. I got a lot of encouragement to follow it as I was reading people's energy. And it comes to a point where I feel like we need to feel that vulnerability and trust to actually go along with what we're hearing and feeling. And so at that point, that was me talking about it. Okay, this is how I feel is happening within you. That's with reading somebody, but we use that in our daily life all the time. It's that internal compass that's always there. And I'm going to speak about how to connect to that, so that you're always feeling like you're moving with your intuition through the story. We all have it. Like I was saying before, it's just how you choose to use it that will define your life.
Beautiful.
And when I was young, I was always told, you're too sensitive. I thought that sensitivity was wrong, growing up. And it wasn't necessarily a loved quality of myself. But I soon learned that sensitivity is actually a gift. It is actually what I use every day. I read people every day. It's in that sensitivity that's who I am. That's my authentic self. So from a young age, I thought that I couldn't be, oh my gosh, my laptop is going to die.
All good. All good.
It's like the one step that you forget to do. My intuition did not tell me that this is going to happen.
Right. Well, you know what? It's all good. It's giving everyone a moment to absorb what you're saying. And so I will just kind of restate. So what you're talking about is this opportunity when you're trusting your intuition and tapping into
Went really well.
Yeah. Well, makes us all human, right? It makes us all
dying.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to remember this for the rest of my life.
At least you noticed it. Yeah. At least you noticed that it was going to die before you just disappeared.
But I had to do something about it. So
yeah. No, please. Yeah. Please don't apologize. So we were talking about intuition as we're choosing intuition, which I love that.
Yes.
And tapping in.
And the idea of being sensitive, and that when I was growing up, I felt that sensitivity was something that wasn't so loved by myself. Right. But over the years, I've learned to move into that in a sense of that I love myself for who I am. And so that's what this story is going to be about. And I want to dive right in because I got distracted.
Yeah, please do.
We'll call that distraction. Just 1 second. I'm going to take it right to the point of where I started. When I started moving in this Reiki and coaching, I was also teaching yoga. I was at a point in my life, so I'm going to bring it right to that point now. And this was just a couple of years ago. I was busy doing all the things that I loved. I did take all that from what I was learning, trusted my intuition, and decided to keep doing Reiki. And I was helping a lot of people. But then I was at a serious point in my life. So I had hit this point where my marriage, I was actually failing, and I was getting a divorce. So I was becoming a single mom with 3 children. I remember being extremely stressed at this point and overwhelmed because I had just found this unique gift within me and I was helping so many people. And I just didn't feel at that time, or I didn't believe that the gift of intuition was enough to support me and my children. Being a single parent, the reality was I was nearing 40 and starting over. So it was a big transition point for myself. And I felt an overwhelming pressure to figure my life out. I decided that yoga and Reiki was not a stable enough career choice. And I started to back out of it. That pressure was overwhelming. I looked back at the rest of my life and I looked at what I was good at, and I started a different business. I started Revival Marketing and Design, thinking that was going to give me more stability. And I still did yoga and Reiki, but I thought it was going to be that little side project, not believing in my intuition strongly enough that it was actually my gift that I was actually going to be abundant with. And then I was hitting every roadblock with Revival. It wasn't happening. I started to feel that the universe was telling me something. It's like we're taking you down this path, and now you decided to go right down another path, a head over heart decision, and it's blocking every point of that, and I wasn't finding success. And then COVID hit the world, and for all of us, that uproored everything in our lives.
Yeah.
We were all trapped in our homes, and I had 3 children that I was then homeschooling. So I had lost all of my work entirely, couldn't do any of it. And I was going through a divorce, so I was quite lost. I wasn't quite sure what I was supposed to do. I felt like I was hitting rock bottom. I remember feeling really overwhelmed.
Yeah.
And then a couple months later, COVID was still on. It was May. I want to bring it to this point in my life that changed everything for me. And again, I think it was the universe redirecting me. My sister and we always go quadding, and we decided one day to go quadding by the river. And so we were quadding along. We parked the side by side by the river, and then we stopped to just have some lunch. And then we jumped back in. We were just going to drive to the other side of the sandbank. And so we came in, we put our seatbelts on, we just held our helmets, and I held the helmets in our lap. And then she went to back up. And I looked behind, and the ground underneath us had broken loose. And the back tires fell underneath and flipped us over backwards into the Wapiti River.
Wow.
So in a split second, we were fine. The next second, we were fighting for our lives. We were fully submerged, and the water was freezing still because it was May, and it was dark. The water was not clear, so we couldn't see each other. I didn't know if she was okay, and she didn't know if I was okay. And we both were just trying to get out. We were trapped, actually, because our seatbelts were locked, and we were upside down.
Yeah.
And it's a rapid river, so it's not small. It's the water was flowing.
Yeah.
And I just started fighting for my life. I started slamming on the seatbelt, trying to get loose, and my seatbelt would not let me loose. And then I was holding my breath, and I just remember like everything, my life starting to flash by my eyes. I remember being these thoughts of my family and my children, and I'm never going to see them again, and no, this isn't it. Someone's going to save me, right?
Yeah.
But nobody was coming. There was nobody around that was going to save me at this point. And then I couldn't hold my breath anymore, and I started to inhale water. And at that point, I knew that I was done, and my body started to convulse, and then I started to feel this kind of lightness come over. I felt like I was like floating up to the surface kind of feeling. And I remember just closing my eyes and this feeling of acceptance, which was extremely hard moment for myself because I didn't want to be done. I didn't want my life to be over. I wanted to see my babies.
Yeah.
And I guess, but then there was a moment of acceptance. It was almost silent, and it was just like, no, this is it. And then in that quiet moment, there's words were spoken to me, and they weren't my own.
Yeah.
They were a different voice entirely. It was a woman. And she said, no, but you have so much more to do. and it was like stern like that and loud. And in that moment, I opened my eyes, kind of like got jolted with some energy. And I just thought, give it one last shot. And I started slamming on my seatbelt and it let loose. And then I was able to come above the water. And that moment was incredible. I seen my sister, she was there.
Oh.
And the sun through the trees, the noise, because it was so quiet under the water, it was just so different and profound. And I just so thankful to be alive, so thankful. And I wish I could just come out of that and just say that the rest of everything was okay, and it was like this power moment. But I didn't realize is that after that moment, I was so thankful to be alive, and it did feel empowering, but I had so much healing then I had to embark on in
Right.
order to move through the trauma and all the stress of my life. So after this amazing experience, I call it amazing now.
Right.
I went home and I went through, I felt depressed. My body felt battered and I had a lot of body symptoms. Actually, my heart had palpitations. And I actually could not feel emotion. So this gift of intuition that I had, I couldn't focus and I couldn't feel. So I couldn't even, when I looked at my kids, I couldn't feel anything. I had went completely numb. And I was so scared of this. So I went to my doctor and he said, well, it's because of the trauma in your body. If you can't figure out what to do, then I want you to come back and I'll put you on medication. And I remember leaving that doctor's office and sitting in my car, and I felt, I was crying. I was like, I just hit rock bottom. This is rock bottom. What am I going to do? And in that moment, we can choose to let life get hard, or we can choose to find that inner strength and fight for something better. And I just chose to fight. So every day I started to set aside time. I started studying energy work deeper, sound therapy I started using, creating a profound connection to myself through the process. I was healing myself. And through that process, all the body symptoms went away. I started feeling my intuition came back, everything came back, but in a deeper connection. And in that process, though, what I started to ask myself is, why did walking away become okay?
Yeah.
Why did fear, I know fear set in, and it's that fear of unknown, or what people might think, success, change, or vulnerability, my own truth. But why did I let it take over? This incident taught me that time is short, life is short. I know for yourself, you probably have things that you want to do, and then we're always waiting to do them, So it's about stepping again into that authenticity. So that's what I did. I got creative and I took all of everything that I healed. I started blending yoga and Reiki, sound therapy, and soon added intuitive coaching, all while going through the divorce, and COVID was still hitting a few times through that period. But I felt like I need to live my life to my own truth and authenticity and really believe in myself. And I feel like the universe redirected me in that way. It was like, no, you have so much more to do. You're not going that direction. And it's a harsh way to tell me, but it was profound. Yeah. And I worked so hard over the last few years and just recently opened a yoga and art studio. And it's successful. It's building in the community. It's creating healing in the community. So I healed myself. I now feel like it's healing others. It's creating that environment for community and connection. I feel like I'm listening to what I heard, and I'm really proud of that. But I do feel through the whole process, I want to bring it into those 3 points now that I wanted to mention, is like the story is there, and there's still more to that story, but this is the main version. Is that first point is listening to your intuition, like truly following your path and trusting it. And how do we do that? How do you trust what you're feeling? Is it thoughts, or is it your intuition? Well, first is slowing down, reflecting, dropping in daily, the things like meditation and mindfulness. I'll always speak of that. Yoga, breath work, any kind of nature walk, or pausing and slowing down. It's about finding that centered place of being. And that's where I found my healing. That's where I always dropped back into me, found me again, It's that proper flow of energy during the day that you can fall into, even when you're busy.
Yeah.
Super important. And that's the number one. And the path chosen, I have to say, it's not always going to be easy. So your intuition is going to tell you, and you're going to feel it. And then you're going to look at that path and be like, but that might look hard. It's going to have a few more bumps possibly, or it might not. But the point is trusting your intuition. So that's why I say it's so important. You get the message. Now, how are you going to use it? Where are you going to direct your internal compass?
Right. And as we're almost out of time, if you can believe it, we have like 4 more minutes left. And so,
oh, wow.
And so I want to, before we end with your 2 points, which will be a little bit faster, I'd love for you to share your gifts with people so that they can, the stories, everyone's like leaning in and so intriguing. And so, as far as your gift that you have for all the ticket holders, what does that look like? And Sarah will drop in the chat for us.
Oh, okay, sure. It's a workshop on diving deeper into this. So diving into your intuition and authentic truth, and then also finding the the smoother or more like how to balance your life out in a sense where you're moving every day in your intuition, but also directing you more into your authenticity, your unique gifts. So
perfect.
That's
and then
on July 12th.
Awesome. In July. So that's the VIP. And the free gift is a 10-minute intuitive activation and authentic truth meditation. We have 2 minutes left and would love to hear those last 2 points, Shelley, if you don't mind.
You bet.
So trust your intuition.
I'll say them quicker. The next point is believing in yourself. So be your own friend and encourager. When that fear comes up, don't listen to it. Don't listen to it.
Yeah.
And don't worry what people think. You surround yourself with a healthy support system, take the leap, life is short.
Yeah.
Last point is those 2 points. Those are the most important ones, but they also self-love and acceptance. So connect to the worth of who you are, know that you're a unique individual and that you're worthy of everything you desire. Yeah. And the last little point I want to say is, how would you feel right now if you didn't do any of these things, if you didn't follow that path that I'm trying to direct you towards right now? How would you feel? How would you feel if you did? Now I look back and I say how nearly dying changed my life and direction. And I'm not saying you need something like that to change yours.
Right. Yeah.
I'm saying maybe you just need someone to say it to you. Maybe your own intuition guided you right now to this message that I'm saying to you right now, that yes, you go down that path, please. Right. Because you too have so much more to do. So that message just wasn't for me, it was for you too. So
yeah, beautiful. Thank you so much. Everyone is sending comments. They're like, oh my goodness, thank you, Shelley. Thank you so much for sharing your story. There's like people are talking about that. Congratulations, way to go. Her yoga studio is in Grand Prairie, I believe. So, so that's where her yoga and art studio is in Grand Prairie. So if you're up there, you can absolutely take advantage of that. Thank you again. And we might have like 1 minute to end. What would be one quote or something in like the next 35 seconds you'd like to share?
I think it would be that message that I heard. I think it was meant to be said to everybody else, is that you do have so much more to do, and to take that on. Life is short. We can't sit on the sidelines. Step into your authenticity and believe in yourself.
I love that. So everyone, let's step into our authenticity. Thank you so much for sharing your story with us, Shelley. And let's just believe in ourselves, because I think magic can really happen. And Shelley, you sharing this story, it was just very, I think, pointed and poignant. You just never know. And today is the day. This moment is the day. This second is the time, right? Let's not wait for things to be better tomorrow, right?
Absolutely.
Thank you for joining us for another amazing session on the Clarity Confidence Connection Summit. Be sure to mark your calendars to join us in Hawaii from November 2nd through the 5th for our premier in-person experience. If you have any questions or want to apply to be a speaker at one of our upcoming events, email our team at breakthrough@clarityconfidenceconnection.com.